Hello everyone, welcome back to another Natred review. Today we're going to be hitting a video that I'm pretty excited about. We're going to be watching some Madu sparring, and I've been interested in getting a Madu and learning to fight with it since I first started getting into fighting about 20 years ago. There was a single, sorry if you hear the cat in the background, there was a single Madu on the field at the LARP that I started at, and I never really had a chance to become good with it or anything, or I don't think I ever even got a kill with it despite trying to use it every chance I could steal it. So it's something I'm interested in doing in foam fighting nowadays. The local bell park I practice at is okay with just house ruling that Madus are legal. And yeah, so I'm excited to look at this. We have Warlord Kurai here on the right and Sunshine on the left. I've known Kurai for many years. We've only met in person a few times, had a chance to have one good sparring practice with him. He's a very good fighter. Got his Warlord not too long ago. Sunshine, again, no idea. I did take some quick notes because there's a couple things that I want to look at in this video. One, I'm interested in seeing Madu shield size to Madu spike ratio. As we can see, Sunshine here on the left has a pretty small shield and some long spikes. And Kurai here on the right, and we'll see it once the video gets going, has a bigger shield and smaller spikes. Also, just talking about Madu construction and preference really quickly, Sunshine here has some interesting decisions on his gripping. It looks like he has an exposed, I think this is a trowel handle, an exposed trowel handle, and it's offset high. So when it comes to shields, just shields, I prefer my center grips to have a recessed handle inside the body of the shield, and for that handle to be centered, because I feel like that gives you the most control over it. But there may be some merit to having an exposed handle like this. When it comes to fighting Madu, maybe it gives you some extra power or leverage whenever you're doing those like downward hip stabs with it. And I think that that's interesting, and there's some merit to having it offset towards the top here, because again, this is going to kind of lend itself more to being used as a weapon than a shield, because this offsetting really gives you a couple extra inches of length here for free. Well, you lost some leverage, but it gives you some extra inches of length here on this bottom spike for being offensive with it. Another thing I want to look at is how open are shield side hips to wraps. Using this Madu, I assume people are going to want to fight left foot forward to actually make use of it, and that being combined with it being a smaller blocking surface, I'm curious to see if that means that the shield side hip is more of an option than it is sometimes. I'm sure savvy Madu fighters have already gotten used to that, and they know ways to punish it, but we'll just take a look and see. And finally, one thing I kind of want to ponder about as we're watching this is if there's any merit to trying out the SCA style Madus. In the SCA, like all the Madus I've seen have a very long bottom spike and a very short top spike. It looks closer to an amp guard down pole than anything else, with just a buckler strapped on it and a spike on top. And yeah, I wonder if there's some viability there. So anyway, let's get into watching this. Apologies for the messy bed and everything in the background. It's big laundry day at my house. Sinking a little dark side. I see Kurai has gone from being short-haired, bearded Kurai to being long-haired, clean-shaven Kurai. Yeah, picking that arm off, it's gonna take a lot of practice, I assume, to get skilled at blocking anything coming to this shield side. And it looks like it may actually be the Madu from Sunshine coming in here, picks up the arm. I'm not quite sure. Oh, it's right there at the end. He got the wrist. Yeah. And Kurai like even moves to stick the block. This just looks like being a little bit inexperienced with the specific gear that he's using. So he sticks that block, then tries to come back across a little bit late. May have had a little bit of an overreaction when he moved for the first block. It's nice in this matchup though. Being down an arm matters a little bit less. It's not like you're fighting somebody with a tower shield. So it looks like Sunshine here is also alternating. Nice. Looks like Sunshine here is also alternating which side he has offset. So very, very kind of common setup here from Kurai, where you fake the dark side and come back shield side. There's a fella named Aaron Hooker I used to fight a lot who would get me with this. I've usually seen it thrown over the top as a flat wrap. I'm sure there's a million different variations of it you can do here, but again, we have Sunshine being really aggressively forward with his guard and projected, trying to project that Madu to be used offensively as a weapon, and this leads to him being front heavy, getting caught around the back with a double tap. What lands here? Looks like that stab may have come up a little short. Yeah, and then Kurai sticks the regular shot. Ooh, where'd that Madu spike end up at? This is almost a great stab. And so this is pretty well set up for the Madu stab. If I saw it correctly, Kurai actually throws a little bit of sword motion here. Yeah, right here. And this is kind of designed to just, not like there's some grand divine plan here, but just general strategy. If you're going to be doing something kind of sneaky, if you're trying to hide something, you're going to want to throw, up a cover to hide it. And what Kurai is doing here is with the sword motion, is he's hiding this step in and stab. And it makes some contact almost with chest. Looks on the line enough that if you wanted to call it throat, you could. Like some conversation there, talking it out. Apologies if I'm not catching everything and being super savvy right now. I had a gym session earlier today, which was fun. Chest and back day, which is always a very fun day. Definitely tired. Doesn't look like there's been any conclusive exchanges here for a few seconds. Picks up shoulder on Kurai here. Yeah, and again, just not super used to the gear, it looks like. Either overcompensating or undercompensating for movement. Hashtag knees for Kurai. Picks up the trade. I'm not really slowing these down because I'm not seeing a lot of like really Madu specific things going on here. Yeah, Kurai just looking a little uncomfortable, a little bit hesitant to throw here. Tries for the outside shoulder, sticks the block, comes under. Very, very nice, very, very nice following here with Sunshine's Madu. Nice projection away from the body. If you think about it, if this Madu was, a closer back against his body here, he's totally dead. The fact that he has it actually pushed out here nice and far away catches the block pretty well. Yeah, good shit. Always like to give respect and slow it down whenever somebody wins when they're an arm down. Yeah, and really nothing super clever here. This, like, upcut over here to the left, this, like, little upward flourish drags the guard over, hides this deep step in, gets shot around the back.
Oh, good shot. Two more minutes. They're only getting 5 minutes.
Well, I didn't know they were fighting there. I thought they were just getting set. This is always the worst feeling when you're trying to play, like, 9,000 IQ mega 5D chess with somebody, and they just fucking hit you. It's the worst feeling in the world. It's worse than childbirth. It's worse than getting your balls exploded. It's bad. Like, I once heard somebody say that, you know, I'm not suicidal, but I've never been closer to death than when I've, like, just dropped a plate of food that I've made. Yeah, I agree with that, but also whenever somebody just kills the fuck out of you during your setup. Just so close to the block there. I mean, this is to the point where one of the things I didn't talk about earlier, but just kind of popped in my head is, you know, there's an ability with these Madu spikes to actually trap swords a little bit. And you don't see a lot of that at all in foam fighting, just because, you know, they're foam weapons, they're going to bounce off each other. But having that 90-degree angle where your spike meets your shield actually gives you the ability to, just for a second, if not trap, then redirect in the direction you want to somebody's strike. And I say all that to say here, you know, here I could have blocked this shot by projecting the shield out further, or having it rotated over farther, or even just rotating the shield, you know, horizontally. I'm not sure if that's the right term, to get this bottom spike a little bit further up, a little bit further horizontal, may have actually parried this shot enough for it not to count. 5 minutes to battle game. Ooh, was that it? Was that the promised land? Was that the fucking Madu top spike stab? So yeah, we have a big commitment here from Sunshine as far as motion goes. Big reach. You can tell it's a big reach because, let's see, right about here, actually even further back, right about here, Sunshine has almost all of his weight going forward onto his front foot, and transitions to all of his weight on his front foot. Arms extended way out in front of him, and he's still out of range of landing anything super threatening. This is far too much of a reach. Then as he steps in, I thought that might have been a sweet little Madu stab there, but I do not believe so. Let's look at it again from Kurai. He tries to go under the other Madu for a stab, gets tangled up in the spike, sticks a nice incidental block, and then maybe incidentally also rolls that top spike down into the hip. They square up for a second, confusion land. I get the feeling that Kurai here is the more solid of the two fighters as far as skill sets go and experience, but Sunshine might be the more experienced with the gear set in question. The gear set in use, I should say. Man, it is hard to high cross Kurai. Looks like it might come down to groin or thigh, possibly. With a nice chest stab from the Madu with nice chest stab with the Madu from Kurai. And so again, we touched on it earlier. This is not a Madu specific thing, but it's definitely something you want to do when you fight Madu. Is hiding your intentions, hiding that spike coming. This nice little upward sweep here from Kurai. So not only does this hide movement, it also puts his sword in a very natural position to throw. This is something that, you know, every sword fighting person talks about are, having strikes that are also blocks, blocks that are also strikes. This upward sweep here functions as a way to make contact and also cut off lanes, and it sets Kurai up to throw flat wraps if he needs to, and all of that hides the spike coming in from down low. I got him in the thigh. Right, let's look at this one a little bit more in detail. And it looks like we're starting to see Kurai really experiment now with how much of a flourish do I have to throw to hide the stab. Here's just a little one. There's a little bit of movement with Kurai's sword to draw the eyes up. Then the little short lunge step in. I've watched a good amount of tape on Kurai at this point, and he doesn't seem to be the most mobile fighter in the world when it comes to his steps. And I wonder if that's just my own perception, or just maybe it's something that's exacerbated in this video because he's not super comfortable with the gear set. But yeah, this step seems a little bit shallow. Looks like maybe getting Kurai's arm here. No. I'm gonna say this has to be a good stab, just about, right? That's maybe nothing. Stick the block, hip stab, get the, looks like arm. See what the call is. Yeah. Yeah, Kurai really seems to be dialing in his range, how far he needs to be stepping, how much fake he needs to be throwing to distract this fighter. And if we look at every portion of this in kind of isolation, we have boom, a little bit of sword movement to distract, step in, come with the initial stab, stick this block very nicely. A little bit of a reset moment. Again, Kurai going high with the sword again, sticking the block, going in with stab number 2, and a finishing blow just in case. So again, all that sword movement hiding that Madu movement. Don't try to fuck up my whack dad while he's on the way down to the ground, alright? I think this is something that could be done better here. Is if you might just want to, if you're gonna hit Kurai in the leg, okay, you've hit him in the leg, sweet. You might just want to go ahead and swing through for that other leg if you got it for free. Yeah, because all these high shots, all coming from the same top half, might make it a little bit easier to block on the way down to the ground. I don't know what I'm really talking about. I'm just filling space. Filling dead air with my mouth. Yeah, he's talking about how that solid trowel handle he's using is hurting his knuckle. And it's something to think about as well, just as far as like joint health goes. Having that offset handle means you're going to be having a disparate load between your fingers. If your if your grip is in the center, you're going to have a much more even spread across all of your fingers as far as what's carrying or which ones are carrying weight. Having an offset like that is going to make it much more dramatic. Which fingers are doing the majority of the heavy lifting. Much more skewed, I should say.
Like one more and then you're at 5 minutes.
I like this idea of the kind of trapping with your
Like one
Madu a
more and
little
then you're
bit,
at 5
reaching
minutes.
out, making contact
Dan, are
with
you
their
good? Are
guard.
you done? Alright, do like one more and then you'll be over 5 minutes. Okay, I wasn't sure if I got it or not.
Yeah, so it's an interesting video. I'm not sure what all we can really glean from that. Kind of going back to our list of questions here, definitely seemed like the off-center Madu setup was really designed to be more offensive. It was being used more offensively. We definitely saw that being incentivized to fight left foot forward made shots to that shield arm and shots to that shield side hip a little bit more viable. And I think it still remains to be seen if there's any validity in the FCA Madu style. Let's see, where's the dang video? Well, let's take a quick peek at it.
How did that feel? I want to.
So these are the SCA style Madus. Really, really, really eccentric with the top spike to bottom spike ratio. And this seems like just a much more dramatic version of what homie Sunshine was doing in that last video with his handle placement. So I wonder if this might have some merit in the Amp Guard world as well. But yeah, feel free to look this up, take a look at it. Let me know what you thought, and I will have another video for you all shortly.